Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list update videos. Today's date is Monday, September 12th, 2022. So this will have covered the week of September 5th through the 11th of 2022. This was a reasonably productive week because I was focusing almost entirely on exactly one game and live streaming the entirety of that Platinum Trophy. And that was, of course, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. So, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed is the PS5 remake of the original Destroy All Humans 2, which is one of my all-time favorite games, and one of the games that I've put just so much content out for over the years on YouTube, because I did my original Let's Play of it back on my old camera setup that was kind of hilariously terrible, all the way back, in, I don't know, what was it, like, maybe 2011? Yeah, I think it would have been 2011 when I did that. So all the way back then. And then following that, I did a Let's Play of the PS4 version. So when the PS4 version came out with a trophy list and all, I did that one next. And that was in maybe 2016. Yeah, I want to say that was 2016. Then I actually just recently replayed the entire game again as like a practice run to get myself ready for this. And I live streamed the entirety of that. And now we did an 8-part Let's Play stream series of this particular game. So it's good and it's bad. The new worlds, they look great. The weapons are way more detailed. They do way more than they did in the original. They're fun to use. They made certain weapons a lot more useful. The Disintegrator Ray is still by far the best weapon in the game, but PK is greatly improved. Gastro's still great, Zap-O-Matic's still great, Dislocator is improved vastly. Maybe a couple of the other weapons are also improved, like the Burrow Beast I know is definitely improved. The Sonic Boom is a lot weaker for some reason, so I don't know what that was about. But most everything else is pretty well improved, and it's just a lot of fun to play when the game functions correctly. I will also say it was really weird that they changed the whole free love ability to actually being a selectable weapon from the weapons wheel. I don't really understand why they did that, because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't really know why they felt the need to do that. But for the most part, the game's upgrades definitely look better. It's still the same dialogue, same great characters and voice clips. Some of the character models are honestly hilarious, to where I just burst out laughing several times at how absurd they were. And, I mean, it was a good time, again, when the game was actually functioning. That's the key word here, though, is functioning, because this game is extremely broken at this point in time. And it probably will still be broken when this video goes up, which will be like a day after it's being recorded. So, when it comes to the bugs in the game, some of them are more minor, like characters might just glitch out of the world and disappear to where you have to restart from the most recent checkpoint within missions. But sometimes you can get way worse glitches. Like, it's possible to get stuck in the saucer, or the saucer to actually get stuck in objects, to where you have to, like, somehow quit out of the game, and I guess maybe close the game might work, or other people have said you need to bring in a second controller and blow up the saucer from the second controller. Just ridiculous stuff like that. The game is extremely prone to crashing, more so than pretty much any game I have played on the PS5. It crashed in 7 out of the 8 streams. It only avoided it in the final stream, which is really ironic given it was the longest one. But it crashed in the other 7 streams, usually at around the hour and a half, hour 45-minute mark. So I almost had like a timer set to it, or I could have set a timer to it if I really wanted to. So it crashes a lot, and the game is also quite bad about, for some reason, it will just sometimes not save your progress. So if the game either crashes on you, or you even just close out of it because you want to play something else, guess what? It'll reset you back to a previous save, and you'll lose potentially a few hours of progress. That happened to me once. Thankfully, I only lost an hour and 15 minutes of progress, but it was still just really, really annoying that it happened. And then there's other weird bugs that happen in the game, like Furitech reactors that are used to do some of the upgrades. For some reason, even though I unlock them, the game won't let me spend them. So I don't know why that's happening. And then there was the whole fact that I got the Quantum Deconstructor at the same time as the Sonic Boom, but you're not supposed to get the Quantum Deconstructor until you get its data core in the next to last Tunguska mission. So I got it a full area's worth of missions early. So yeah, I still can't understand how that one happened, because that's one of the strangest glitches that's happened to me in my memory of any major game. So, I mean, again, the game is fun, but it's just really quite broken right now, with various, objectives being weird and characters not spawning correctly, and just all of the crashing and the save data loss. Right now, it's just not worth playing yet. I would recommend waiting until that they can, implement a patch for it, or just do something to make it work better. Now, as for the Platinum Trophy, it's not very difficult, because you can actually play the game on the easiest difficulty, and this is in addition to the fact that certain things like PK are just stupidly overpowered in the remake. Because PK is just way, way more powerful than it was in the original version of the game. It's night and day. You can throw 3 objects into a tank to blow up the tank. But the game does have difficulty options, which was really weird, because the original certainly didn't, and I don't think any of the other Destroy All Humans games had difficulty options. But this one does. Now, I beat the entirety of the game on the highest difficulty, the Conqueror difficulty. It's not that hard after maybe the first few missions, when you're sort of getting used to it and having to get your first upgrades and such. But it's not too difficult to do, just because the only real difference is that you have less health, or your health gets drained faster. Enemies have more health. And along with that, your shields regenerate way slower on the higher difficulty, so that's probably the biggest issue with the game, is it just takes a lot longer to heal. So let's start looking at the actual trophy list. You have to purchase an upgrade for Crypto and the Saucer, very easy. You have to purchase a capstone upgrade with a Furitech reactor. It's easy as long as the Furitech reactors actually work for you. You have to revisit a mission on the Holopox deck. We'll come back to this at the end of the list. You have to accelerate one of these abilities by just mashing the button. This one's unmissable. You'll get this one, probably your first miscellaneous trophy in the game. Then you have to do, this is a collectible where you just have to destroy a specific building on each map. I don't know how people exactly figured this one out, but there's one hidden, not even hidden, just one specific building on each map that is a human hive, so you just have to blow it up in the saucer. The 3 perfectly timed anal probes, it's not that difficult, because the anal probe, it's decent in this game. I don't necessarily know if it works that much better, but I mean, this is pretty easy. You just have to wait until the beam changes to a green color and then release the button, and that's how you know that you've done a perfectly timed shot. You'll get your bullet back, or I don't know why I said bullet. You'll get your ammo back if you do that, so that's sort of how you can tell. This one's pretty tough to miss because the dislocator is actually pretty decent in this game, and it's a lot more powerful. It'll easily send 3 people flying. It's more consistent as well with the way it makes people move a little bit. You have to try out a new look for Crypto. That's very easy. Same thing as looking through the Furonagami collection. Outrunning the Blisk spores, this one's pretty easy. You just have to wait until you see one of the spores from the spore drums in Albion, or from disinfecting people in later levels, and outrun it with Skate. It's pretty easy to do, just as long as you don't get hit by the spore, you should be fine. You have to invade the 5 areas of the game. Those are all story-related trophies and unmissable. Then we have several more unmissable story-related trophies for boss fights. This one is for defeating Shamalama. This is an optional boss fight. It is an odd job in Takashima. This is kind of a boss fight and kind of not. It's near the end of Tunguska, because Tunguska doesn't have a traditional boss fight in the way the other areas do. This is also for an odd job. This is the Yeti side quest, odd job, whatever you want to call it, in Tunguska. So you'll get this trophy for finishing that odd job. And then this is for defeating the final boss. By the way, the final 2 missions of the game, Dark Side of the Moon and Milenkov, have been combined into a single mission, still called Dark Side of the Moon in this game. But the number of story missions is the same, because one of the Arkvoodle cult missions in Bay City is turned into basically a tutorial mission that's required as part of the story. So I guess that's interesting. You have to demolish a public toilet on each map. This is another collectible type. You can just follow a guide for all the collectible types. You have to complete all of the Ark Voodoo Cult missions, of which there are technically 15 now in this game. Most of them are easy. A few of them are a little bit trickier, but for the most part, they're not too difficult. This one is for finishing the Coit Tower defense in Bay City. This mission is easier in this version, though I'd still recommend you wait and do it once you've purchased several upgrades, including a couple of saucer shield upgrades, because it can still be a little bit tough. This is a miscellaneous trophy for Bay City, as you have to PK throw a cop through the hole of the donut. That was a trophy in the original Destroy All Humans as well. You have to drop a human from the top of the Albion Bridge in Albion, or the London Bridge, whatever you want to call it. You have to ascend Takashima Tower, which is going to require you to either have fully upgraded skate or fully upgraded ion detonator to be able to make the last bit of distance. This is also in Takashima. It requires you, during the Shaman Lama boss fight, to take his dead body and throw it at him and kill him. Kill one of his reincarnations with his previous dead body. It's not that difficult, just note that it's here. You can replay all story and side missions, so there's nothing missable in the game, which is good. This is a miscellaneous trophy for Solaris. You have to carry a basketball from one area to a hidden basketball hoop. Then you have a skate trophy for each area where you just have to follow a short course. They're all really easy, and I finished them all first try, no problem, so you shouldn't have to worry much about those. Then you have to complete all the odd jobs, of which there's between 25 and 30 of them, just keeping in mind that sometimes they don't appear until you've made more progress in the game. You have to collect all the artifacts, of which there are 50 of them, 10 in each area. You have to collect the 5 posters in each area for a total of 25. There's 60 total songs. Some areas have more than others. You have to do all the Gene Blend upgrades, of which there are 15. They are more complicated in this version because each one requires a much larger number of humans, but there's also fewer of them, and only 3 of them take place over the course of multiple areas. Those being the 3 Solaris ones also require you to abduct humans from other areas of the game. And then finally, you have to complete all the optional mission objectives. This trophy is actually lying a bit because you don't have to complete the optional objectives for odd jobs or Ark Voodoo cults. You only have to complete them for the main story missions, the 28 main story missions. Now, what makes this a little bit easier than you might think, especially compared to Destroy All Humans 1's remake, is that if you go into the Holopox deck, there are now mutators available, which will allow you to change the way the game plays. Specifically, you're going to want to activate the 2 that give you invincibility and infinite ammo. So if you do miss any objectives, which you probably will not miss very many if you're actively going for them, but it's likely that you'll miss at least a few. So because of that, you can now go back in and replay the mission with these on, and it makes it just a whole lot easier, honestly. And there's 1 or 2 missions, especially late in the game, that have some pretty brutal optional objectives. The main one I'm looking at is the second mission of Solaris, where you go into the cosmonaut base, and it's the one with the whole vodka speech, they're taking away your vodka speech. And that one has probably 2 of the most annoying objectives in the game. The final mission of the game also has a couple of really annoying ones that are much, much easier to do in replay, but the vast majority can be done on your first try, and most of the optional objectives for all of the side quests and stuff are not that hard either, but once again, there's going to be a few that might give you trouble, but at least you don't actually have to do the ones for the odd jobs or the Ark Voodoo cults. So overall, it's an easy platinum, even played on the hardest difficulty. It was a little too buggy for my taste. Next game, I did a stack here of Memories of East Coast. This is a Ratalaika and East Asia Soft combination visual novel game, and it's a very quick and easy platinum trophy. I did the PS4 and PS5 North American versions just because I wanted to get those numbers up a little bit as we try to work our way toward having that 649 platinum so I can go ahead and finish off Black Ops 3 soon. For this platinum trophy, you want to set your text speed to maximum, and there's going to be a few other settings you can change that allow you to skip through a lot of the dialogue, but beyond that, it's just a pretty typical visual novel experience. You do have to play this little short tutorial section at the beginning, which does take like an extra minute, but it's not really, it's not difficult. Once again, it's not a difficult game at all. It's just, mashing the X button in that area and then mashing the R1 button a few times in between each of the dialogue choices, and that's how you're going to get through the game. Now, for the rest of the trophies, a number of them are tied to doing one option versus the other in certain dialogues. So there are going to be maybe 6 different times in this short game where you actually have to make a backup save. So more in-depth than some of the other games, because pretty much a majority of the time when there's a choice, you have to pick both different choices to get trophies. There's never more than 2 choices though, which is kind of nice. So like for example, these are for picking mom versus dad on a thing. And then let's see, like this one has to do with a toy versus a song. Stuff like that. So none of it's difficult. Just follow a guide. I'd recommend following Bad Driver's Guide. It's a video guide that's like a 6 or 7 minute long video. And I mean, you can get the platinum done in 5, 6, 7 minutes. It's not, once again, it's real simple. There's not really a whole lot more to say about this. PS5 version took me just a little bit longer because I accidentally picked the wrong option before the first save choice, before the first time you're supposed to save the game, if that makes any sense. So because of that, I ended up having to replay some of the intro area, which added a little bit of extra time. But, you know, it is what it is. It's still a 5 to 10 minute platinum. It's not difficult at all. It doesn't take any time. Just, again, there's not really much more else to say about it. You guys have seen easy platinums like this before. So let's go ahead and sync up our trophy list. Level 794, 86%, 24,075 total trophies, 644 platinums, 4,067 golds, 6,425 silvers, 12,939 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week and really the rest of the month, because we can go ahead and talk about plans for all of that time period now. So the main plan is to grab another 5 platinums this week. They probably won't be very good games. Just grab like 5 platinums this week so that I can finish off the Black Ops 3 platinum. I found at least one person to hopefully do some of the zombie stuff with, but I might also look into joining a group on PSN Profiles so that at least we have, you know, full group for certain things to maybe make some of them easier. Of course, Uncharted 3 is the next like really old game I want to clean up, just to finish off the last few trophies that I supposedly can get. There's not that many, apparently, but I would just kind of like to go ahead and knock that out and never have to deal with this game again, even though I'm not actually sure if I have it downloaded on this particular PS3 that I have here. I think I had it on my other PS3, so I will have to make sure I can still download everything. I don't know if I will be able to find all the DLCs and stuff. But anyway, that's the current plan for that. And if I have time moving forward, GTA 5 and The Division, but, you know, I've mentioned those so many times now. You guys know that I'll probably keep mentioning it for the next, like, 6 months or something at the rate that we're going here. We'll have to see, though. October, Division 2, Dead Island Riptide, those are both maybes if I decide to not, you know, push them back further. Dead Island Riptide will get done before the end of the year, though, because Dead Island 2 comes out in early 2023. November, Conan Exiles and Outer Worlds, maybe if I have time for them. December, COD Classic, Shadow of the Colossus, other, you know, random games and such. And then, you know, there's that game I'm going to do for 666, even though PSN Profiles apparently doesn't track that number, which is a little bit sad. But we'll figure all that stuff out as we move forward. I will say, though, that the Fallout 76 Pit Expedition DLC comes out, I think, on Tuesday, so the day after this video goes up. I'm expecting it to get trophies. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't get trophies because it's a major update. But then again, that game has been really weird about which updates got trophies. Like, Wastelanders getting trophies made sense, but Steel Rain got trophies instead of Steel Dawn, which is a bigger, more in-depth DLC. Like, why not give for both, or at least give it to the one that was larger? I don't know. They're kind of weird about DLC trophies, because there's been a bunch of DLCs that didn't get trophies at all, like the Sheep Squatch and the Brewing updates. They didn't get trophies at all. So, I don't know. I assume we're going to get them. Probably by the time this video goes up, I'll know for a fact if we do or not. Also, I heard news that apparently LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is going to get more DLC, like, later this year. So hopefully we actually do get some missions, because I would love to see them do maybe, I don't know if it'll be like a season pass type of thing, if they do actual full new movies and a couple new planets for some of the other movies and stuff. So Rogue One, there's Solo, there's Kenobi, there's Book of Boba Fett, there's Mandalorian, Andor's coming up. I think that's what it's called. I just saw the first previews of that one. And I feel like I'm missing a series, but I'm not sure if I am. So we'll have to see about all of that. I'm assuming that we're going to get some actual story DLC, though I'd be shocked if we don't. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. As for this upcoming week in terms of streams and such and games, the schedule should be a little more normal this week. I want to upload several of the Platinum Trophy videos just to clear them out of my backlog. And for streaming, I'm sure that Friday will be a stream. Yeah, Friday will be a stream. Saturday, I know for a fact, will not have a stream because our game is a night game this week. So that's just sort of how it's going to be throughout football season, because college football is a big thing down here, especially when you have a generally good team to cheer for. So yeah, that's the plans for this week. As for that whole series of doing games from start to finish, 100% of all the trophies, I think I'm going to start that once I finish Black Ops 3, at minimum the Platinum, maybe not until I get some more progress done on the DLCs. But when I do that, the first couple games I do, Fallout 3, I want to do it, obviously, but I'm not sure yet if I want to do it as streams or as videos, or maybe as a combination of both, just because that being the PS3 version of the game, it's extremely buggy and crashes a lot. So it'd almost be easier oftentimes to do it as videos, but we'll see about that when we get to it. When I do South Park The Stick of Truth, that one's going to have to be as videos just because there are certain things that are going to need to be edited or censored just to avoid getting in trouble with YouTube. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys back here later this week for some more content.